Tonight on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, you thought it was over with the Devil's Rejects. Well, if you add in an unbefore-mentioned sibling, well, you just have a recipe for more mayhem. Tonight's movie, 3 from Hell.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! Worst apocalypse ever! Yes! Episode number 14. That's right, we have gone 2 weeks into this marathon of murder as decade of debauchery, so to speak. And we are finishing off the Rob Zombie trilogy, the Devil's Rejects trilogy, with the final film in that, and that is the movie 3 from Hell. So now we know last night's The Devil's Rejects was a spectacular, monumental achievement by Rob Zombie. So will Rob Zombie build upon that success and make an equally or even greater movie than that with this one? I'm afraid not. So what is the 3 from Hell all about? Well, the Devil's Rejects, spoiler alert for the second movie, just in case you haven't watched it. So I will let you, do something for like a minute or two before we get back. Anyways, okay, y'all gone? All right, so after the bloody firefight, the roadblock crashing, driving while firing and getting shot to fuck up, all to hell, they miraculously survive. And they are, of course, nursed back to health because, that's what we do when we shoot the hell out of psychopathic murderers. Justice demands that we nurse them back to health so that we can have them sit in jail for the rest of their lives. Anyway, so, of course, that's what happens. They miraculously survive. They recover. They go on trial. Baby is thrown into a mental institution. Otis is sentenced to death row, and so is Captain Spaulding, and unfortunately, he ends up getting executed. But a unbefore-mentioned relative, you gotta love those. When you get that unbefore-mentioned relative in a movie sequel, it's usually a bad sign because you just have no fucking clue what you're doing. And so you're like, well, you know what? Otis has another brother. Yeah, a half-brother or something like that. Anyways, so he ends up springing him when he's on work detail. I don't know if like someone in maximum security on death row for the deaths of like so many people would actually be put outside on work detail, but apparently, that's what they did. That's what they did, right? So anyways, he ambushes everyone, kills a bunch of people, and sets Otis free. And then now Otis has a plot to get his sister out of the prison, which involves having a little get-together with the warden and his family and friends. Gets the warden to spring her in a crazy, should-never-work plot. And, of course, now these 3 are on the run, because that's what worked so well in The Devil's Rejects. So they're on the run, and they decide that it is time to leave the United States and go down to the great country of Mexico, where, of course, Danny Trejo's son, Danny Trejo from The Devil's Rejects, apparently he ended up on the same work detail and gets killed by Otis, and so his son in Mexico finds out that they're there, and so he's going to send all hell upon them, and of course, battle ensues. So, let's get to the scores, shall we, everybody? Violence and gore, I am going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Like, this movie is pretty damn violent. It's not as, like, nastily gory as the other two in this series, but I'm going to give it some negative points because of the overuse of digital gunshot, digital blood, digital squibs. It's just, practical people, practical effects just look better. I'm sorry, but until they really get someone who can do some great work with CG, cuts and blood and things like that, it just looks fake. It just looks fake. Really fake. Stands out. Implausible. I don't know. Anyways, big no. Negative points. That's why it's only a 3.5 out of 5. Moving on. I know some people would ding them even further, so I'm being kind of friendly. Anyways, moving on to shock value. This one gets a big fat 0 out of 5. There is nothing shocking about this movie. There is no jump scares. There is no oh my god, the brutality. No, everything is pretty straightforward. Nothing really twists and turns. You don't have like the sort of gut-wrenching opening credits as the House of a Thousand Corpses. You don't have the menace as you do in The Devil's Rejects, and you really don't have anything really that's going on that's going to just go nope, sorry. 0 out of 5. I'm going to go to the plot now, and the plot is a 2 out of 5. Like I said, it's a problem when you have the unbefore-mentioned sibling, and, he's the walking plot hole, but also the fact that the whole prison break thing just seems very unrealistic. The fact that they can get away from all of that seems very unrealistic. And then the whole thing happening in Mexico also seems unrealistic, and it's kind of dumb. And the worst thing is that it is not interesting at all. You don't have the foil. I mean, apparently, maybe the son, the son, in charge of the Mexican mafia that's going to try to kill them. Maybe he's supposed to be, the other side, but you never get it. You never get it. In fact, you don't get anything. If this movie is you being a fan of the Three from Hell, and you're identifying with these characters, then because these characters are absolutely reprehensible, humanity in me wants them to face death and justice. And I feel like the movie does a big disservice to The Devil's Rejects, where I think that ending should have been the ending, because it was fitting, and it was right, and it was a proper send-off. Not this movie. This movie just, it just doesn't do it. And so, the plot is functional and does have logic to it, but it just doesn't do a good job, and it's disappointing, especially coming off of The Devil's Rejects. So 2 out of 5 for plot. Acting, I am going back down to the 3 out of 5. Mosley, fine. Just Sherry Moon Zombie. Just I don't know. It's the problem with the character. Probably it's mostly the problem with the character. But she is just extra batshit crazy in this movie, and it is just so over it. I am so over her. I mean, not her as a person. I'm so over her character. I'm just I'm just over that character. That character has nothing to give cinema anymore in this world. Nothing. I'm sorry, but it's, and then the third guy, the brother, the half brother, the Wolf Man, just seems like a watered down Miller Lite version of Otis. Honestly, just, yeah, he's the Diet Coke of Otis, just 1 calorie, no flavor. Anyways, so yeah, it just, yeah, 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Sid Haig, you deserved better than this. Anyways, moving on to Nudity, I am giving this a 4 out of 5. Also, there is a whole lot of TNA in this movie in parts. There's a whole lot of full frontal, especially in the Mexico part. You've got the prostitutes and they're just naked for a few scenes. And it's quite a bit. Plus, you've got background drawings and tattoos of naked women, so I guess that sort of counts in a way. I don't know. Anyways, 4 out of 5. That brings me to my enjoyment factor, and that is a 2 out of 5. I enjoy some of the violence. I enjoy some of the nudity, but I do not enjoy the movie. It is, how you say, uninteresting. It is uninteresting. It is boring. There isn't that special feeling, that special thing that makes this movie stand out. Like, The Devil's Rejects just has it oozes this entertainment, and this just is like a sad, faded ghost of that movie. It is the brother-in-law of that movie. It is the unbefore-mentioned brother-in-law that we didn't know about and didn't really need to know about. And somehow I feel like I wish that this is just their fever dream. Otis's fever dream as he's dying, bleeding out at the end of The Devil's Rejects. So, yeah, 2 out of 5. Overall impression, though, is a 1 out of 5. This is a movie that I wish didn't happen. I'm sorry to say that, but I wish this movie didn't happen. It's a feel bad for me because I love to give movies, even bad movies, a fair chance. I tend to be the reviewer that is a lot more forgiving, especially in the horror genre, because I love horror, and I want to be positive as much as I can when it comes to these movies. But this movie just does not work. It does not work at all. It is boring. It is slow. It is uninteresting. The characters are bad. There's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to root for. There's nothing to really, say, hey, check this out. And it's a sad thing to say. So, 1 out of 5. I'm sorry. And that averages out to a 2.2 out of 5. Thank the nudity score and some of the violence and gore. Otherwise, it was probably going to get under 2, perhaps. It was just so disappointing. I mean, even more disappointing than House of a Thousand Corpses, which still had special elements in it. This movie, even though much better made, much better directed, much better edited, just doesn't have it. Just doesn't have it. So, yeah. So tell me what you think in the comment section below. Have you seen this movie, 3 from Hell? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think I'm nuts? I don't know. But that is it. The end of this episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror. And I will see you next time, Internet. And until then, if you're a warden and you know the history of these psychopath murder bastards, and yes, I know they have your wife and friend and your friend's wife, you can't make that deal. You know they're going to just murk you after you do it. So, you know what? It's time to cut your losses. Your wife will be dead, but she'll understand in some way that you can't just unleash these monsters upon the world again. So yeah, you need to agree to their terms, and then when you're out, you go call the army to take out, basically drop a tac nuke on your house, and let the sister rot. I mean, that's what you should do. You should do, because you can't negotiate with these psychos. No.